utata, what do I do? Hi everyone, and welcome to part 2 of Uncomfortable Conversations with myself. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for following. Thank you so much for the amazing comments. I have read each and every one of them, and I try my best to respond to all your comments. One of the main comments that I did receive on my social media was that I left people hanging. They wanted to hear more of what happened after I saw my dad lying there. So I saw Dada lying there, and I immediately screamed. I cried. I asked God to bring back my dad. I didn't know what to do. I shook him. Immediately neighbors came through and they tried to comfort me. Bacela amanzi eswekire baza nawo. I refused to drink amanzi eswekire. I remember one of them asking another to go fetch into yonxiba because I was in shorts. As I said in the previous video, I was in home clothes. I was in shorts and a spaghetti strap, and I was just falling out of my clothes because everyone was trying to hold me while I was crying. Zabuya ingqondo. Bakanena kho umuntu apha endlini. Ndimndedwa ngoku, tatulele pha. Ndaphakama. Ndangena endlini ndakhulula i-contact lens because beseziphuma kulila. Ndazifaka entweni yazo ndanxiba izibheks zam. First thing on my mind was that kukho icamera apha endlini. And andiyazi password yecamera. And umuntu oyaziyo uselowa. Ndamfonela umama we-siblings zam ezincinci ezimbini. She was Utata's right-hand man. If I didn't know anything, I was sure she knew it. Utata shared most of his intonai, and I knew this. I'm not proud of the way I broke the news to her because I was in a panic. No. Did phone in? This is how I called her. No. Ndicela password yecamera utata udutyuliwe uswelekile. Naye she froze because now I had just broken the most terrifying news to her about Dada akekho. And she, for the life of her, she couldn't remember the password, the cameras. I dropped the line, ndayojonga utata uba usephandle. Hayi ingqondo yami ihlangahlangene bekuyimesi nje, but ingqondo besezibuyile. Ndafika utata esalele pha. Ndama egethini ndamjonga utata, and a recollection of memories came back. And while they flooded me, I went back inside, ndathatha ingubo katata ndamgquma, ndaphuma ndamgquma utata. One of the memories that came back was that the day that utata had spoke about in so many instances, ingathi uyadlala, was finally here. And I needed to step up because utata ngokakasekho, and I needed to follow through with all the promises I had made to him. And one of these promises was that ndizamgadela abantwana bakhe bonke. He had asked this of me in 2015 ngoJune, silungiselela uncwaba umakhulu, umama katata. Undicelile uba ndimkhaphe siye kaMacro siyokhetha ifridge because Tata wasn't the kind of person you hirisha everything. He had this thing yobana sizazidinga izinto another time. So siyahamba ke siya kaMacro siyothenga ifreezer for iigusha because sasiqhele iigusha ezininzi. And during this journey from eGugulethu to kaMacro, he starts talking and I didn't respond. I was just listening. And one of the things he said to me was that Thembisile nibayifo kumamenu. And I have observed each one of you. Wamchaza omdala uba uyi-character enjani. Wamchaza uJabu uba uyi-character enjani. Wamchaza uBusisiwe uba uyi-character enjani. Wathi ntombi, nguwe onale ngqondo yam. Nguwe ongoyikiyo. If anything happens to me, uzindigadele abantwana bam bonke Thembisile bangadingi into. I never responded. Azange tu ndimphendule utata. I just looked out of the window as he drove ethetha lento. And inside of me I knew ubana this was my duty. This is what I had to do if anything happened to Tata. So zabuya ingqondo, ndafowunela uJabu. uJabu ndamcela uba aze eMandalay because kubad. I didn't tell him what was going on. I just said, Jabu is endlini ngoku. And he could hear from the urgency in my voice that he needed to be endlini ngoku. When Jabu came, ndaqalela ekuqaleni ukhala. Ubusi was already there. Ubusi was on top of Udada, pleading with him to wake up, begging him to wake up, because we were all not ready for this moment. We were all just not prepared. As much as Udada had walked us through what to do, this particular moment we were not ready for. After ngibuyele ezingqondweni, after Jabu endi ezamela undithuthuzela, I think about 10 or 15 minutes later, my mother, who had not set foot in Mandalay for about, I think it was about 15 or 18 years, ugqibela kwakhe uba sendlini umama, uhamba kwakhe endlini, in actual fact, appeared out of nowhere. And I was standing by the gate, ndikade utata, ndikade noBusisiwe, because people were trying to pull my sister off umzimba katata. And I understood Busisiwe is a very emotional person and she needed this time with Tataki. She needed to feel that he is no longer here. As Umama walked into the gate, she looked at Utata. And I was watching her in that moment. And the first words she said was, This hurt me, but because there was a lot happening around, I didn't, as I do, because I had other important things to consider. One of those things was that Amapolisa had finally come. I think it was about 2 hours later when the police came. And there were 3 policemen in particular who kept on asking me questions, and they were irritating the living daylights out of me, because Lamapolisa, first of all, they are late. Second of all, the police station yaseMandalay is literally 5 minutes away, and they should have heard the gunshots, but they didn't make their way to Ekai. And the entrance yaseMandalay Zimbini, had they acted instinctively, they could have caught those people. Now they are here asking me questions. And I wanted to comply, but what was frustrating me was the fact that they didn't have their act together. One policeman would come and ask me questions, another would come and ask me the very same question. So I allocated them a corner apha ngasendlini, and I said, Iman apha and figure out all the questions you want to ask me, and then when you have those compiled, come back to me. Saniphendula. And they did that. My next checklist item was the fact that kugcwele ngogendlini. Kukho noteksi, kukho abantu bokuhlala, kukho ifamily, and kuhlangahlangene, and I don't have control over the situation, and that wasn't okay, because I wasn't even sure if the people who had done this were amongst these people. And I called one of the police officers and I asked them, is this a crime scene? Waphendula wathi ewe tata, wathi ewe sis, ndicela nikube wonke lo mntu lapha if i-crime scene lena, because ke andikho sure kubani ozothini, and if kulahleke izinto apha endlini, it will be on me. My next item on the agenda was ukufaka ibhaki katata, because ibiphandle, nokufaka imoto yam. Ndikhangela izitixo zikatata ke ngoku zemoto zidibene nezitixo zendlu, and I had seen them zilapha ecankomzimba. So I'm busy looking for these keys, and andizibone. Ndibize amapolisa, ndiziphi izitixo zisendlini bezilapha, and you said this is a crime scene, I mustn't touch anything, so zisuke njani? Abakwazanga undiphendula. Ndathi mabakhangele izitixo zemoto katata ke. They did. Bazifumana bandinika, ndafaka ibhaki, ndafaka imoto yam eyadini, because ke kuhlangahlangene bakhutshwa abantu endlini. We struggled to sleep that night, because one, akekho utata, and two, umama, who we were not really familiar with apha endlini, was here sleeping over. Ubusi walala nomama in one of the downstairs bedroom. I slept in my room. I remember ndivuswa about 3 a.m. Go 3 ekuseni. Ubusisiwe khali. And I couldn't understand why ujabuthene ezovusa mna whereas ubusi eleli nomama. Umama uxakiwe kukuthuthuzela ubusisiwe. Umama uxakiwe kukuthuthuzela intombi yakhe iswelekelwe ngutatayo. I woke up while I wasn't sleeping. Ndahla, I went to my sister, ndamfaka phakathi kwemilenze yam, and I held her tight. I whispered in her ear that kuzoba right, mntasekhaya. We've got this. Utata has walked us through this situation. We will be okay. She quietened down. Ndakhulula iwatch katata ebendinikwe ngamapolisa ebeyinxibile, ndamnxibisa ndathi hold on to this. Remember this time. The following day, I remembered ubana I know someone who works with automation and he could possibly crack the password for me. I called this person. Ndamxelela what had happened. Wafika nyani. Yahamba nobrother wakhe. They went upstairs to where the monitor was. They brought it downstairs to a office katata. And they immediately tried to hack the system. I was in the office with these two gentlemen, and this was the toughest, the most hardest time for me, because now they had rewound the previous day and I saw Tata esebenza egadini yakhe on the video, ecleaner, etsala uphayipu, enkcenkceshela. And they kept on playing back the part where this guy shoots Utata in the head. They played it back, I think 4 or 5 times. And I couldn't watch anymore, because every time I watched, I screamed, "Tata Suka!" But Tata was not even here anymore. Tata was a Salt River. Oh, that was the most difficult part of it all for me, when I saw each moment, each step he took, the last hours of his life. I saw them on video. The police came, a detective I think came, and he asked to see this clip again. I had to replay this moment, relive this moment. And each time I wanted to warn that basuphuma, and I wanted to do things differently, but I couldn't. What had been done had been done. That's it for this episode of Uncomfortable Conversations with myself, Tembisile Khumalo. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Oh, and to share this video. Until next time, goodbye.